Ladies and gentlemen, the 5-pound bass.
Oh, let's see, I got a big one. Oh, not again.
Hey man, you need some help with that?
It's fishing legend Drew Barone. What happened to your leg?
Shark attack. But me and my friends will teach you our ways. We'll have you fishing in no time. Fishing is a fun, relaxing, and enjoyable sport for all age groups, if done correctly. So today, we're going to learn about fishing regulations, learn about the proper fishing equipment to use and safety, learn how to rig and bait a line, then finally learn how to reel in the big one. So now, let me introduce you to my friends. First is Colin Adams. He'll be explaining to you equipment and safety. Next is James Coyle explaining to you how to rig and bait the line. And finally, Stephen Libretti is going to show you how to catch a fish. And I'm Drew Barone, and I'll be your narrator. Today we'll be going after striped bass, a common fish found in the coastal waters of New Jersey, which puts up an excellent fight and makes for great eating. However, every time you go out on a recreational trip, you can only bring 2 striped bass back, and they have to be above 28 inches. Alright, so now that you know a little bit about rules and regulations, I'm going to bring in Colin, and he's going to explain to you safety and equipment.
Thanks, Drew. I'm here to tell you guys about the equipment needed to go fishing, and I'm also here to tell you about some safety tips as well. First, I'm going to tell you guys about some of the basic things you need to go fishing. This is a rod, a reel, and some fishing line. Also, as you can see here, there are many different types of lures and rigs that you could use. As you guys can see, the rod we'll be using today is a 9-foot carbon fiber rod with a spin caster reel, and we're using 30-pound test braided line. Hopefully the rod we selected today will help us catch the sea bass that we are after. Some of the other miscellaneous things you guys may not know you need are nail clippers to cut the line, a pair of needle nose pliers to take the hooks out of the fish, and hopefully you don't do this but yourself as well as a very sharp knife to clean and fillet the fish. Now I'm going to instruct you guys on a few safety tips to consider while you're fishing. TakeMeFishing.org has laid out a few tips that I think are very helpful, and I'm going to let you know about right now. One, if you're going fishing on a boat, you should always wear a life jacket. Just in case you fall over, it's very beneficial to have one on even if you know how to swim. Two, you always want to inspect the water fronts that you're fishing in. Weather can change at any time, and you always want to be ready. Next, you only want to fish in permitted areas only. Fishing in non-permitted areas could be very dangerous to yourself and other wildlife. Next, you always want to use proper attire when you're fishing for your feet as well as your upper body. Next, you're going to want to keep yourself covered from the elements, so you're going to want to use sunscreen and bug repellent. Sunscreen will keep you covered from the sun's rays, which cause cancer, and you don't want cancer. Next, you're going to want to use a sharp knife. While you're not using the knife, you're going to want to always keep it covered, because you can obviously cut yourself, and that would not be a good thing. Another thing is you're always going to want to bring extra supplies, such as a flashlight, water, radio, or cell phone, because you don't know what's going to happen. You can get stranded, you could get hurt, and those things are going to come in necessary. Next, you're always going to want to be extremely careful when you're taking the hook out. You're going to want to use gloves, and you're going to want to have the fish on a stable surface so you don't mess up and puncture yourself. If you do get hooked, the proper way to remove it is push the barb all the way through the skin and then remove the barb once it's showing.
Thanks for the great information, Colin. Now that we know a little about equipment and safety, I'm going to bring in James to teach you how to rig and bait the line.
Thanks, Drew. Hi, I'm James, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the different types of rigs and baits that you're going to be using when you're fishing. There are hundreds of different types of rigs that can be used for specific types of situations and fish. Depending on the bait you use, the fish you're going after, and even the location of where you're fishing, you're going to be using a different rig or a different type of bait. So I'm going to go over with you guys a few of the different types. Laid out here, we have a few examples of the different types of rigs and lures you may use when you go fishing. To start out, we have a steel leader. A leader connects the main line of your fishing rod to the lure, and you would use a steel leader in a case where you're going after a fish with many teeth, such as a shark or a barracuda, as they can cut through normal fishing line. Here we have some weighted rigs which hold your bait down near the bottom of the water. They too have steel leaders, as you can see, for going after more toothy bottom feeders. Here we have a jig, which is also used for fishing on the bottom. It's got a heavy weight to it, so it sinks quickly. Next we have a rig with a bobber on it. This helps you to identify when a fish has hit your lure, because sometimes, especially with smaller fish, it's not very easy to tell. Here we have some feather lures, a spoon, and some different surf poppers that you might use when fishing off the beach. Since we're going after striped bass, we're going to be using a rig that stripersonline.com recommends. This rig is called the Fish Finder rig. As you can see, it incorporates a heavy-duty slider at the top, which is attached to a 2-ounce lead pyramid weight by a thin leader. Next, the main line of the fishing rod is attached by a barrel swivel to an 80-pound monofilament leader, which is tied to our circle bait hook. In addition to lures and other artificial baits that you may use, natural baits are a very important part of fishing. But depending on the species and the location you're in, you're going to want to consult local fishermen on the type of natural bait you should use. For striped bass, we're going to be using clams, as that is one of their favorite prey. Now I'm going to demonstrate to you guys, and you're going to practice along with me, how to tie one of the most important knots in fishing. This knot is called the improvised clinch knot. The improvised clinch knot can be used to tie anything from a hook to a barrel swivel to even the biggest lures to your line. For our demonstration, you're going to be using a paper clip along with some line we've given to you. Here I've got my spool of leader, and I'm going to attach it to this hook. The first step is to take the leader, as you can see here, and place it through the eye of your hook. Or in your case, you're going to be placing it through the eye of your paper clip. You're going to bring a small mounted line through the eye and make a small loop, as you can see like that, or a small U shape. You're then going to take the hook or your paper clip and you're going to twist it around 7 to 8 times, like so. As you do that, you'll see the loop begins to get smaller. You're going to take your free end of line and pass it back through the loop. When you do this, you're going to grab it with your other hand and tighten the line while you pull on the free end of your line. So the knot tightens like so. Once you have it nice and tight on your hook, you're going to tie another safety knot just to make sure it comes out. For me, I prefer just to do a simple overhand knot like so and cinch it down. Now that you know how to tie your hook to a line, we're going to go over baiting it. Baiting your hook is very crucial because if your bait is on too loose, the fish is going to get away with it and you'll never hook them. It's also very important because it's possibly the most dangerous step in fishing, as there's very high probability of sticking yourself in the finger with your hook. So you want to be very careful while you're doing this. Because we're going striper fishing, and as I said before, we're going to be using clams, I'm going to demonstrate how you would hook a clam onto your line. Instead of clams, we're going to be using this substitute, which is a fake crab. But hooking it is very similar. So first, you're going to take the hook and pass it through your bait once. Then, once you have it through one time, you're going to want to double it back over, like so, and stick it back through again. So the back of the bait looks like that, while the top of it, you can see, is completely covered. Now that you know how to rig and bait your line, I'm going to send it back to Drew so he can teach you how to cast and catch your fish.
Thanks, James. Now that we know how to rig and bait the line, we're ready to bring in Stephen Libretti, who's going to show you how to cast and actually catch a fish.
When you arrive at your fishing destination, you're going to want to look for a suitable spot. You're going to want to look for a clear location without trees or cover in the area so you can cast freely. But also look for birds or other animals that might be preying on the fish to find the best location. Fish are often found where they can hide or where they're food. So docks, bridges, and other locations are good places to look for the fish. The first thing you do before you start casting is you're going to want to grab the line a few inches up on the rod. Next, you're going to open your bail. Now with your finger on the line, you're going to move the rod into a vertical position and move from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Now that our line is casted, we're going to wait for a nibble or a bite. After you have a bite, you're going to pull quickly up on the rod to set the hook. When you're reeling in your fish, you're going to want to pull up while reeling down. Pull up while reeling down. So after you've reeled your fish all the way to the dock, you're going to grab it depending on the size, using your hands, a net, or a gaff. After you bring the fish on board, you're going to carefully remove the hook and then choose to keep the fish or throw it back in the water.
Hopefully, after today, we hope Jason and our viewers at home have a better understanding of fishing in general. Today, I taught you about the rules and regulations in New Jersey to help you fish. Colin taught you about the safety and equipment. James taught you how to bait and rig a line, and Stephen taught you how to catch and reel in a fish and also bring it aboard. Using all of our knowledge we have learned today, we hope you guys and Jason can go home and reel in the big one.
Catch a 5-pound bass down by Lakeside, just off the ramp. All them people sleeping in their fishing camps. Some out in the pup tent, some out on the grass. They all been dreaming about that 5-pound